Annie McCarrick, a 26-year-old American woman from Long Island, New York, vanished under mysterious circumstances in Ireland in 1993. McCarrick had moved to Ireland to study, and she was living in Dublin at the time of her disappearance. On March 26, 1993, Annie was last seen withdrawing money from an ATM in Dublin and later boarding a bus to the Wicklow Mountains. She was reportedly seen at Johnny Fox's pub in Glencullen that evening, but after that, she disappeared without a trace. Despite extensive searches and investigations by Irish authorities, no significant leads emerged, and her fate remains unknown. Amy Johnston was a pioneering British aviator, celebrated for her daring solo flights and record-breaking achievements in the 30s. In 1930, she became the first woman to fly solo from England to Australia, cementing her place in aviation history. But on January 5, 1941, during World War II, Johnston was flying an airspeed Oxford aircraft on a mission when she encountered bad weather and went off course over the Thames estuary. Running low on fuel, she was forced to bail out of the plane. Despite efforts to rescue her, Johnston was lost in the icy waters, and her body was never recovered. The exact circumstances remain unclear, sparking numerous theories. Some believe she may have been mistakenly shot down by friendly fire, while others think she was swept away by strong currents. Her fate remains unknown. Arthur Pyer was a pioneering American yachtsman and designer credited with popularizing the modern trimaran, a type of multi-hulled sailboat. During the 1950s and 1960s, Pyer gained recognition for his innovative designs and daring solo voyages across the world's oceans. His work helped establish the trimaran as a viable option for long-distance sailing, influencing future designs in the sailing world. In 1968, he set out on a solo voyage from San Francisco to Hawaii aboard one of his own trimarans, the Nimble. The trip was intended to demonstrate the seaworthiness of his design, but he never reached his destination. He was last heard from on April 17, 1968, when he radioed that he was facing heavy seas, but was otherwise fine. After that, all contact was lost, and despite extensive searches, neither he nor his trimaran were ever found. Clement Bernard Johnston Sr., a former American football and baseball player and coach, disappeared under mysterious circumstances in 1933. Born around 1895, Johnston had a successful athletic career, earning varsity letters in football, basketball, and baseball at Wake Forest University. He later became the second head football coach at Appalachian State Teachers College, serving from 1929 to 1932. In 1933, after being dismissed from his coaching position, Johnston sent a postcard to his wife from Zanesville, Ohio. He mentioned that he was heading to Chicago to publish a book. However, after that postcard, Johnston vanished without a trace, and no further communication was ever received. Despite efforts to locate him, Johnston's fate remains unknown. Resurrection Mary is one of Chicago's most famous ghost stories, and her tale has been haunting the area since the 1930s. The legend tells of a young woman, often described as a beautiful blonde wearing a white dress, who is said to hitchhike along Archer Avenue near Resurrection Cemetery in Justice, Illinois. According to the story, Mary is a ghost who appears to drivers asking for a ride. She usually requests to be dropped off near the cemetery. However, when the driver approaches the gates, Mary mysteriously vanishes without a trace. The legend claims that Mary was a young woman who died in a car accident while returning home from a dance in the 20s or 30s. Numerous drivers have reported picking up a woman matching Mary's description, only to experience her sudden disappearance. In 1992, 17-year-old Kelly Day Wilson vanished from Gilmer, Texas, under mysterious circumstances, becoming the center of a case that gripped the small town and baffled investigators. On January 5th, Kelly, a high school senior, was last seen after finishing her shift at a local video store. Her car was found in the video store's parking lot with a flat tire, her keys in the ignition, and her purse inside, but Kelly was nowhere to be found. The investigation took dark and unexpected turns, including allegations of a satanic cult operating in the area, leading to the arrests of several people, including law enforcement officials. However, these charges were later dropped due to lack of evidence. Despite extensive searches, no trace of Kelly has ever been found. In 1990, Paige Reynolds, a 30-year-old substitute teacher from Okemos, Michigan, vanished under mysterious circumstances. On May 24th, Paige was last seen on the side of Interstate 96 near Fowlerville, Michigan, standing by her car. Witnesses reported seeing her speaking with unidentified men near her vehicle. When authorities arrived at the scene later that day, they found Paige's car still running, with her purse and other personal belongings inside. But there was no sign of Paige. Despite extensive searches and investigations, no trace of her has ever been found. Theories range from abduction to foul play, but her disappearance remains an unsolved mystery. Jasper Jack Cranick, born in 1914 in Trenton, New Jersey, became a prominent American football back for the North Carolina Tar Heels after moving to North Carolina for college. He played with dedication until 1941, when he chose to join the Air Force during World War II. Unfortunately, on October 30th, 1943, Jack's plane mysteriously vanished while flying over the Caribbean Sea during a night mission. Despite extensive search efforts, neither he nor his aircraft were ever found, leaving his disappearance as one of the enduring, unsolved mysteries of the 1940s. Pearl Eaton was a talented dancer, choreographer, and Broadway performer in the early 20th century. Known for her work during the roaring 1920s, she was part of a famous showbiz family, with her siblings also making names for themselves in the entertainment industry. Despite her early success, Pearl's life took a tragic and mysterious turn. On November 10, 1958, her body was discovered in her California home. The circumstances surrounding her murder were unclear, and despite an investigation, no suspects were ever identified. The case quickly grew cold, with few leads and little evidence to point toward the perpetrator. Her murder remains unsolved to this day. Richie Edwards, the Welsh musician and lyricist for the alternative rock band Manic Street Preachers, vanished under mysterious circumstances in 1995. Known for his intense lyrics and enigmatic personality, Edwards was a central figure in the band's early success. On February 1, 1995, just before the band was set to embark on a U.S. tour, Edwards disappeared. His car was found abandoned near the Severn Bridge, a location notorious for suicides, sparking fears that he had taken his own life. However, his body was never found, and despite extensive searches and numerous reported sightings over the years, his fate remains unknown. The RMS Queen Mary, once a luxurious ocean liner, is now one of the most famous haunted ships in the world. Launched in 1936, it served as both a transatlantic passenger ship and a troop transport during World War II. After being retired in 1967, the ship was permanently docked in Long Beach, California, where it became a hotel and tourist attraction, and some say, a hotspot for paranormal activity. Numerous reports of ghostly encounters have made the Queen Mary legendary among ghost hunters. One of the most famous spirits is John Henry, a young sailor who allegedly died in the ship's engine room. Another ghost is Jackie, a little girl said to haunt the swimming pool. Guests and staff have reported hearing splashing sounds and a child's laughter, even though the pool has been dry for decades. These unexplained occurrences continue to baffle people, making the Queen Mary a fascinating destination for those intrigued by the unknown. In 2010, the mysterious disappearance of the Skelton Brothers, Andrew, Alexander, and Tanner, shocked the small town of Morenci, Michigan. The three boys, aged 9, 7, and 5, were last seen on Thanksgiving Day, November 25th, while in the care of their father during a custody visit. The father claimed he had given the boys to an underground organization to protect them from their mother. However, investigators found no evidence to support this claim. Instead, authorities grew increasingly suspicious that Skelton had harmed the boys, especially after he attempted suicide shortly after their disappearance. Despite extensive searches and investigations over the years, no trace of the Skelton brothers has ever been found. The case remains unsolved. In 1986, Susie Lampp, a 25-year-old estate agent from London, vanished under mysterious circumstances while attending a work appointment. On July 28th, Susie left her office to meet a client known only as Mr. Kbur at a property in Fulham. She was last seen walking away from the property with a man, and her car was later found abandoned nearby, with the keys missing and her purse left inside. Despite an extensive investigation, Susie was never found, and no one has ever been charged in connection with her disappearance. Susie Lampp was officially declared dead in 1993, but the mystery surrounding her disappearance remains unsolved. The Kbur UFO Incident is one of the most famous and controversial UFO sightings in American history. On December 9th, 1965, a fireball was seen streaking across the sky over several U.S. states and parts of Canada before reportedly crashing into the woods near the small town of Kbur, Pennsylvania. Witnesses described seeing a metallic, acorn-shaped object about the size of a car, with strange markings on its surface. Local residents, along with firefighters and police, quickly converged on the site, but they were soon joined by the military, who cordoned off the area. The object was allegedly loaded onto a flatbed truck and removed under heavy guard. The U.S. government officially claimed the object was a meteor or satellite debris, but no detailed explanation was ever provided. I'm a paramedic, and one night still haunts me. We got a call about a car accident with non-life-threatening injuries. It seemed routine, but when we arrived, an old man was already helping the victims. He was calm and knew what he was doing, claiming he used to be a paramedic. I was grateful for his help as we worked together to treat the injured. After we finished and loaded everyone into the ambulance, I looked around to thank him, but he was gone. I asked my colleagues, but none of them had seen an old man. Even the victims didn't recall anyone helping them. I was certain he was there, but it was as if he had never existed. I still wonder if he was a ghost or something else entirely.